Jeremy Sitka, Collin County Democratic Party Chair and one of the Progressive Caucus leaders. Progress Texas is helping turn the state blue, and we're going to go and make this the most progressive state in the country.
It's Wednesday, June 25th, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. It's all about Texas around here, as you know, but we can't help noticing what just happened in New York City. New York Times reporting here is 33-year-old State Assemblyman Zoran Mamdani, running as a progressive Democratic Socialist, has defeated former New York Governor and decidedly old guard Democrat Andrew Cuomo in the Democratic primary for mayor of New York City. A big moment for sure that's being noticed by Democrats across the country amidst both the chaos of Trump 2.0 and deep disillusion about the national Democratic establishment. This primary used ranked choice voting, with Mamdani pulling in first choice nods from 43.5% of voters to Cuomo's 36.4%. Liam Stack at the Times writes that Mamdani's rise may mark a generational and ideological shift, with his progressive economic message focusing on New York's affordability crisis, which found great resonance, especially with younger voters, a theme that's resonated with many voters, suggesting a potentially successful strategy for broader Democratic appeal across the country, echoing past insurgent campaigns like those of Bernie Sanders and fellow New Yorker Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, both of whom had endorsed Mamdani over Andrew Cuomo. Huge news. And much remains to follow, including the rest of that race, which could get crazy, and the Republican reaction, which you know will be over the top. A couple of Texas leaders representing that new emerging guard are in the news this morning. Austin Congressman Greg Casar gets a write-up in the Texas Tribune from Owen Dahlkamp, who notes that on those recent Texas tour stops with Bernie Sanders, Casar has stayed away from social issues, instead focusing on progressive economic goals, raising the minimum wage for working Americans and raising taxes on the wealthiest Americans, messaging Casar believes will be effective in reversing gains Trump made among Hispanic and younger Texans last year, now that his actions from the Oval Office have demonstrated contempt for those same voters. A note here also on Dallas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, also prominent in this new wave of progressive leaders, also from Owen Dahlkamp at the Trib, in a moment that illuminates the ongoing generational struggle for the steering wheel of the Democratic Party. Crockett has withdrawn from the race to become the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee as of yesterday, after which Democrats selected Representative Robert Garcia of California after he secured key committee support. Crockett had entered the race after Congressman Jerry Connolly's death last month, pushing as she has been for a more aggressive stance against Trump by Democrats. And once again, the old guard frequently sees the younger Crockett as overzealous, and once again went for a more tempered voice in Garcia, who in fairness is a young lawmaker himself at 47. Houston Congressman Al Green is no spring chicken, nor is he a chicken in any other sense, but his move to impeach Donald Trump for ordering strikes on nuclear facilities in Iran over last weekend without getting authorization from Congress has not succeeded, as only 79 of the 212 Democrats in the House voted in favor, most of those progressives representing safe districts. Among the Texas Democrats who voted along with Congressman Green were the aforementioned Greg Casar, the aforementioned Jasmine Crockett, Joaquin Castro, Lloyd Doggett, Veronica Escobar, and Sylvia Garcia. The rest voting to table Green's impeachment resolution, which Axios says was derided by the Dem establishment as premature, unhelpful, and unserious, with some lamenting that the vote forced them into a choice between grassroots activists clamoring for impeachment and the broader, more moderate electorate. Green stands firm, as he is known to do, saying, quote, "Do we really want to give this president the power to take over 300 million people to war without consulting with Congress," unquote. And considering who we're talking about here, it's hard to disagree with that concern. Another new face emerges from a completely different stretch of the cultural spectrum here in Texas. This time it's agrarian agricultural East Texas, as we notice the announcement of a campaign for governor from cattleman, poultry producer, and firefighter Bobby Cole, whose similar message of frustration with the marginalizing of working Texans in this case is clearly more aimed at the center, if not the moderate right of Texas. Cole says he's running for governor on behalf of folks who have been squeezed out and written off, that he'll stand up to Trump's extremism and also to Elon Musk's corporate greed. Cole promises to fund the schools of Texas, fix the Texas grid, protect Medicare and health care for rural Texans, to cut taxes, and interestingly, to legalize marijuana. We look forward to getting to know gubernatorial candidate Bobby Cole. The aftermath of Governor Abbott's flurry of last-minute bill signings over last weekend continues as expected. Lawsuits over Senate Bill 10, the 10 Commandments in Classrooms thing, have begun, but one from a perhaps unexpected source. Ben Sawyers at WFAA says a group of Texas faith leaders, including Christian and Nation of Islam leaders, has filed a federal lawsuit to block the new law, arguing that it violates both the U.S. and the Texas constitutions by imposing religious doctrine on students, infringing on the separation of church and state. The plaintiffs say they're suing on behalf of their own school-age children, claiming the mandated display of the Ten Commandments interferes with their religious beliefs or the lack thereof. The public outcry over detention methods employed by ICE, or at least masked unmarked goons who say they're with ICE, continues, but you're not going to hear complaints from the private prison industry. Cindy Ramirez at El Paso Matters writes that the number of immigrants being detained by ICE in a massive white tent camp in far northeast El Paso, which was previously used by Border Patrol to process incoming migrants but was recently turned over to ICE for use as a staging area for deportation flights, has surged from under 100 to more than 900 in just the last few days as Trump's mass deportation push continues throughout the country. And that represents a small percentage of the nearly 56,400 people who are currently in ICE detention nationwide as of June 15th, according to the Nonpartisan Research Center TRAC, or Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse at Syracuse University. The aforementioned El Paso Congresswoman Veronica Escobar sees this as only the beginning of a gold mine for companies that profit from the imprisonment of human beings, saying, quote, "The big winner will be the corporations that will perform the work in these immigrant detention networks. Every American seeing this happen today should know that this is being put on the backs of taxpayers," unquote. In fact, Donald Trump's big, beautiful bullshit bill sets aside $45 billion of your tax dollars for immigrant detention to house more than 100,000 people on any given day, an 800% increase compared to fiscal year 2024. El Paso Matters has previously reported that Amnesty International has observed widespread human rights violations, including systematic mistreatment, arbitrary detention, lack of due process, and access to legal resources at the same facility in El Paso, Texas. Our mission here at Progress Texas is to counter the conservative disinformation machine, which is funded by oil and tech billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups, all while fact-based independent media outlets increasingly face funding threats. While access to those outlets is frequently free, as it is here at Progress Texas, it takes listener support to keep fact-based independent media going. If you've come to appreciate what we do here at Progress Texas, now more than ever, we could use your support as a monthly contributor, and no amount is too small. Go to progresstexas.org/donate like Marvin Hecker, Heather Hernandez Yencho, and Sean Hayward all have lately. We appreciate all of you very much. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning.